Now, let's cast our mind back to Friday night. And look, we wanted a close game, but in our heart of hearts, we knew it wasn't going to be a close game.
Been outstanding, the Cats, all season. And Sydney and Collingwood have troubled them. But what was so important the other night, I've never seen them move the ball as slick as what they did the other night. So from coast to coast, they win the ball in the back end and then they go from one end to the other and they scored. And more often than not, Myers was involved, Close was involved, Stengel was involved in these passages of play. They were very clean. Not sure they get this sort of space in a grand final to do this, but it was very impressive the other night.
Yeah, they were outclassed. Brisbane. Chris Fagan said after the game that maybe just the toll of the previous two finals got a hold of them, but they were done over in the coach's box. They were done over on the ground. They were beaten absolutely everywhere. And Chris Fagan needs to look at that. I don't think he prepared his players well enough in this sense for what Geelong gave to him and behind the ball. So,
or is it just they just weren't, when it's all said and done, good enough to get near them?
Well, they've got within 10 points down at Geelong.
Round 4.
Round 4, the last year they've done it. So I think they were far better than what they put out there on Friday.
Their small forwards were extraordinary again the other night and they took it to a new level.
They were, and I think I'm glad they're getting this credit. It's Brian Myers and it's Brad Close, and they had 44 disposals between them and kicked 3 goals between them. And they also kept Daniel Rich quiet and they kept Kadeen Coleman quiet. So they just do so much hard work, so much hard running that you spoke to players over the weekend. They're just so happy that they're getting this attention, Damo, because of the role they play. And that's what Geelong are. College Jazz, Jed Buse took care of Charlie Cameron. Yeah. Role players everywhere.
The transformation of this club, which has been at the very pointy end of the ladder for the best part of 15 years, and to then get to a grand final in 2022 with a different look and different style about them, it is one of the coaching stories of not just the season, but of the Geelong Footy Club.
And Kane, Hipwood certainly knew about it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I just love this from Geelong. Like, this reminded me of Michael Voss in the Brisbane days, Jonathan Brown. They're like a team the Sharks that smelt blood in the water here. Just Joel Selwood coming in, just telling him all about it. Then Jeremy Cameron comes in with the verbal, and that's a team that is at the top of their game. They know they're the best team in the competition. They've won 15 in a row. And who's going to mess with Joel Selwood and Jeremy Cameron, the best captain in the competition, the best player? And it's going to be on because Sydney will go against them next week. You've got Luke Parker and Papley will get in the face. Buddy Franklin will get in their face as well, and neither team will take a backward step. That's why I think it's a fascinating grand final.
Richmond could have well been in the preliminary final if they had have gone after Lachie Neale the way that Geelong did. It was a team tag and it was a team effort. So let's have a look at the stoppages. He had 15 against Richmond, remember? Now this is Joel Selwood. Look at the effort that Joel Selwood is putting into Lachie Neale, just wanting to push him away from the stoppage time and time again. So just not allowing Lachie Neale to run, just pushing, and it takes its toll. It's energy zapping. Look at Joel Selwood, the amount of work he is putting into Lachie Neale. This was all night. This wasn't just at one stoppage, as you see, all night. Again, you've got Lachie Neale down the bottom here, and this time it's Atkins. Atkins pushing, shoving. Blix-Harves gets in there. They just don't want him anywhere near the drop of the ball. Again, Geelong win the clearance. They had multiple numbers around. This is Atkins making a beeline for Lachie Neale over here, just to make sure that I'm going to body you up so you can't get near the stop of that ball, the drop of that ball. So Lachie Neale likes it tight. He likes it in tight. Again, comes up and he just pushes him out of the way. Lachie Neale was like, I can't run. I don't want to. I'm getting tired. This is hard work. This is endurance. Again, Joel Selwood goes to him and again pushes him out of the way. So this is all first quarter. This is all the first quarter.
Brady, are you seeing anything there that another umpire may look at and think it's worth blowing a whistle on?
He did get a lot of free kicks the other night, Lachie Neale. But then this is the last one. He's done. He can't run anymore. He's been broken. This is early in the second quarter. So the amount of pushing they did on Lachie Neale, yes, he probably should have got more free kicks, but it was a team tag. Well done to Geelong.
Great vision, Brownie. They could easily have picked Mark O'Connor, but what Mark O'Connor does, he hurts them because he's not a stoppage player like Atkins and Selwood is. So it's a different way of tagging Lachie Neale, which they did a great job. And what about the game? A cane of Paddy Dangerfield, best on ground by a long way.
Yeah, what is it? His 7th prelim final that he's played in. Now he goes into his 2nd grand final. If anyone deserves a premiership, it is him. Couldn't believe they started him on the bench in the qualifying final against Collingwood. That's why you don't start Patrick Dangerfield on the bench. His first quarter was huge. Kicked the first goal of the game, kicks that one there. 2 goals and 8 possessions in the first quarter. 720 metres gained. He had the 8-time All-Australian. As I said, if anyone deserves a premiership, it is him. And the way that they managed him, when there's no doubt he did look overweight at the start of the year, the fact that they did put him through that mini pre-season got him absolutely cherry ripe. I haven't seen him cover the ground as well as he did on Friday night. So the management of this Geelong squad this year has been spot on to the point where they're cherry ripe for the grand final, not in round 18, 19.
Callum Mills, I think, he's gone to him before and done a great job. He did it at the SCG earlier in the year. I think, again, with the performance of Dangerfield, you'd set Mills for him.
We already discussed the Sam Reid situation at the Swans. The rolling injury story will be Max Holmes at Geelong, who had an incident with his hamstring in this piece of play. A beautiful change of course there with how he's taken that kick across to Isaac Smith. But it caused this to happen, for him to go off the ground and what was thought to be a season-ending hamstring injury. Chris Scott was to leave the box and go and attend to his progress. Post-match, though, they were arguably more buoyant about it being a potential nerve transferal of feeling down to the hamstring. And again, TJ, we're not going to get any form of answer until the teams come out on Thursday night on this. They will keep this a live chance story for him all the way through. It happens every single grand final year. I'd be surprised if they took any risk on him, but that's the situation they've got. They've got Steve Saunders, who is one of the elite international sports people when it comes to diagnosing and treating injuries, and they've got him on their books already. They're half confident.
Well, Steve May played with a hammy last year, and we're going to get to it later in Damo's agenda. But in terms of the way Max Holmes plays, it's a massive risk, and they got to put him through a hard few sessions so he doesn't blow up his hamstring on grand final day. Because you go one short, it can cost you a big game. So they've got to be ruthless in this decision.
He's been so crucial, hasn't he, Brownie, as to what they've done this year. And in that game before he went down, he was setting it up.
I think Simon Prestige came over, had a similar thing back in 2010. They put him through the ringer. I think it was his decision in the end. And he went to the coach and said, I can't go.
Yeah. It was his call, and he's sort of forever loved for it.
Yeah.
It was such a selfless act. Before we move on, can I just ask about the Brisbane Lions? And I just sort of reading between the lines what you guys have been saying there. Chris Fagan didn't have his best night. So where to for the Lions now?
For me, I would scour the competition, and I think Chris is one of the great man managers. So he's fantastic. And you don't need to be everything as a senior coach, but you surround yourself with what you maybe lack. And I think he's not as strategic as a Chris Scott, for example, but you can surround yourself with people who aren't man managers like Chris Fagan. So that's what I'd be going after. They get probably Dunkley in. They get the best #1 draft pick in Will Ashcroft.
Yeah, and Lordy, they're already saying he is going to be Nick Dacos in 2023. Will Ashcroft.
Yeah, and they also get Adrian Fletcher's son, who's a top 20 selection as well.
I still think they're in the premiership window, and this is highlights of Joe Danaher the other night. Now, he's a wonderfully talented player, Joe Danaher, but while he plays like this, and he plays the way he is with low footy IQ, I don't think they can win a premiership the way he plays. If I'm Joe Danaher and I'm his coaching staff, I'm saying, ring up Jack Riewoldt and ask how he changed, because Jack Riewoldt in his early part of his career was a similar type of player. But Joe Danaher at the moment, if he doesn't change, I don't think they can win the flag. I think they're still in the premiership window, but Jack Riewoldt changed and he became a better player, a defensive player. He wanted the ball delivered to him 120 metres away the other night. He was arguing with the umpires, arm out.
Do they need to be firmer with him as a club?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If he doesn't change, they can't win a flag.